4.
Ma'am, you told you will start with the free riders problem and stuff.
Aha,
Last unit.
I just forgot. Sorry, very sorry. I just forgot about all those two now, moral hazard and the free riders. Uh,
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I just forgot. Okay, so
Ma'am,
I will. Yes, I will discuss tomorrow that. Huh? Yes.
ma'am, I have a doubt regarding the chapter. Is this the name of the chapter? Is market and the government in Lips and Crystal? I want to confirm from you.
I can't remember because I don't have lipstick crystal as I said in my home. Okay, I have just take. Okay, have you received those photocopies which I have uploaded in LMS?
No, ma'am, we didn't receive it. I found it from like a PPT format from net. I downloaded it from Google and then I found
Ma'am,
the chapter.
Yes,
ma'am, it's there in LMS. You have sent three PDFs
yes,
about
yes,
it's there in LMS.
yes. It is there. Yes, that is what I'm
I
asking.
have.
Today I have uploaded them.
Yes, ma'am.
Huh? So all those
Okay.
lipstick crystal, the relevant portions, it is from positive and normative economics. It is from for the types of market and all. Whichever I found from Lipsy and Crystal, I have taken the snapshots from college Friday, and today morning I have uploaded in college LMS. So check your dashboard,
Yes, ma'am. It's
you
there.
can
It's there.
find it.
It's there.
Huh? So check it, and for this portion I just forgot, otherwise I will definitely discuss this part. So give me one day because I have to prepare that uh, ppts and all those, so I will make it and I will definitely discuss it tomorrow. Tomorrow we have two classes, so there I will discuss this part, huh? So leave that part of unit 3, and today we are going to discuss about unit 4. Okay, and thank you. I think Shorodeep, right? Shorodeep, for reminding me, because this is my nature that I used to forget everything. Huh? So if I told you anything that I'm going to discuss it, I'm not discussing, then you must inform me. Huh? So let me start unit 4. And your problem, if you have any problem from unit 3, as I said, tomorrow I will discuss the remaining portion of Unit 3. And if you have any problem from Unit 3, you can ask there. Okay? So wait for tomorrow with your problem of Unit 3. So this is Unit 4. You can understand this is something related with the elasticity, and this is not related with the portion I left of Unit 3. Hmm. You can continue with your knowledge of Unit 3. So market sensitivity and elasticity. Now, why we need that elasticity? Elasticity is needed because you know if the price of a commodity is increasing, how your demand will change, how your supply will change. If your income, if your expectation, these are changing, how it will change. That means uh, whether it will increase or decrease, right? That if I am asking you that, say your income has increased, then whether your demand will increase or not, you are very sure you will give me the answer, yes ma'am, it will increase. For a normal good, the demand will increase, that you can say. But if I am asking you to what extent, then you may not give me the answer. For that you have to draw the diagram. Okay, and when you are going to draw the diagram, you will face the problem that what is the exact shape of my demand curve, whether it will be a flatter or a steeper, or what will be the exact shape. So you don't know, right? You don't know, you just know your responsiveness, that whether you will change your demand to the left, to the right, whether your the supply will shift to the left or to the right, that you know. But to what extent, exactly to what extent, you don't know, right? So for that you need the concept of the elasticity, that how sensitive your demand is, how sensitive your supply is. So this part is going to give you the idea about this. Someone is trying to join. Is there anyone? No. Okay, fine. So what is the elasticity by definition? It is the responsiveness of the dependent variable to the change in independent variable. You know what is dependent variable and what is independent variable? Tell me, what is independent variable? What do you mean by independent variable?
Ma'am, a variable which can assume any values.
Yes. Which is explaining something. And what is dependent variable? It is. What is dependent variable? No
Ma'am, a
one?
variable which is dependent on the values of the other variable
Of the independent variable.
of the independent.
Yes. The independent variable is something which is giving outside from the model, outside from the economy. Okay, this is given. So it is this. And dependent variable is definitely, it is dependent on the independent variable. Okay, it is explained by the independent variable. Okay, its value is changed when the value of the independent variable will change. But the opposite is not true. Okay. That means dependent variable cannot influence independent variable. But independent variable will definitely explain, influence the dependent variable. Fine. Now, what I am telling about the elasticity, it is the responsiveness. That means how the dependent variable is responding to the change of the independent variable. Okay, that means when independent variable is changing, how my dependent variable, to what extent the dependent variable will change. Okay, this is the concept of elasticity in general. So we know here we are going to discuss about, basically we are going to discuss about the relationship between price and quantity. And all of you know about the Marshall, about the Walras, and you know we are following basically the Walras approach, where we are assuming that quantity is the dependent variable and price is the independent variable. Okay, that means we are going to change the price and then we will check what will happen on the quantity. Okay, so we are following this path. Price will be considered as the independent variable and quantity is considered as the dependent variable in this chapter. So there are different types of elasticity and these are in our syllabus actually. Own price elasticity of demand, sometimes it is called as price elasticity of demand. Generally we are not calling this as a own price. When we are talking a lot about the elasticity, we are saying what is price elasticity of demand. Say the price elasticity of demand is 5, say the price elasticity of demand is less than 1. This is how we are saying, but the full term of the price elasticity of demand is own price elasticity of demand. That means how the demand is changing when its own price is changing. Okay, when its own price is changing, how the demand is changing. What is the responsiveness of the demand of a commodity when its own price is changing? Now the second one is cross price elasticity. It is the change in demand of a commodity when the price of some other commodities will change. Okay. So the say the demand of X is changing when price of Y is changing. So that will be under the heading of cross price elasticity. And income elasticity is what? Income elasticity means change of a demand of a commodity when the income of the consumer is changing. Okay. So these are the types of elasticities. These are the most common types of elasticities, and we are also concerned about these because these are in our syllabus. So here comes the first one, own price elasticity of demand. As it is a bit new for some of you, if you have any problem, you can ask me. You can just stop me and ask. Percentage change in quantity demanded of a commodity due to 1% change in price of that commodity. Okay, percentage change in quantity demanded of a commodity due to 1% change in price of that commodity. Okay. Okay. So here I am writing it mathematically. Elasticity of demand, generally we are writing it in terms of ED. E subscript D. You can write anything. You generally, sometimes we are also writing E. Only E. Anything you can use. So what is that? It is a ratio. In the numerator, you have percentage change in quantity demanded. In the denominator, you have percentage change in price. Okay. So if your denominator is 1, then the numerator is ED. You get my point? Is that okay?
Ma'am, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, please
Okay.
explain it once again.
Like, yes. This is the definition. I am just writing this definition, that is first bullet, in mathematical form in my second bullet. So the second bullet is saying in the numerator, it is the percentage. Yes.
I think is there a change
Yes.
part?
Yes. I'm going to write it. Yes. It is the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. This is the definition of elasticity or own price elasticity of demand. Okay. This is the definition of own price elasticity of demand. Is the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. Fine. Now what I am telling, that if my denominator, this is a ratio, you can see this is a ratio, simple ratio. So if my denominator is 1, okay, if my denominator is 1, that means the percentage change in price is equal to 1. That means there is a 1% change in price. You get my point? If the denominator is 1, that means it is the 1% change in price. Then that numerator is my ED. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So that is what written in my first bullet. It is the percentage change in quantity demanded of a commodity due to 1% change in price of that commodity. Is that okay? So that is why this is how the first bullet and second bullet is related. Okay. But it is not necessary that your price will change always by 1. No, it may change to any level. But you have to compare. Then what will be the percentage change in quantity demanded? So how to write it? The percentage change in quantity demanded, how can you write it? You can just write it in that way. Let's say the quantity demanded has changed by del Q. Okay. So that Q is changed to del Q. Okay. So Q is changed to del Q. I can write the Q is changed by del Q amount. So 1 is changed by del Q by Q, and it is a percentage. Then out of 100, what will be the change? Out of 100, what will be the change? Out of 100, it will be del Q by Q, del Q by Q into 100. Okay. So this is how you are getting your numerator, that is the percentage change in quantity demanded. Is it clear to you? You understand this? Percentage change in quantity demanded.
Yes, ma'am.
And similarly, you can find percentage change in price. The same thing, only that Q will be replaced by P. Okay. So then what will be your numerator? Numerator will be del Q by Q into 100. And your denominator will be del P by P into 100. So you are writing it. Okay. You are writing here del Q by Q into 100 in your numerator and del P by P into 100 in your denominator. So that 100 will cancel out. So what left? Del Q by Q divided by del P by P. So if I arrange it to make it a neat, then it will be del Q by del P into P by Q. Okay. Del Q by del P. If you write it, you can do that. Del P, write it in your own copy. Then you can write, you will get this one. Del Q by del P into P by Q. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Now look
Yes, ma'am.
here, one thing. Here one thing, remember, I am not considering the direction of change, right? Actually, if there is law of demand and price will increase, then quantity demanded should fall. Okay. So if numerator is positive, then the denominator is negative in that sense because there is law of demand. But here I am only considering the absolute value, only the responsiveness. I am not considering the direction of the responsiveness. Huh? So direction, if you want to incorporate that direction, then actually what will happen? Look, what will happen? This value will always be a negative one. If you put, if you have a particular equation, demand equation, and you are getting the values of del Q and del P, it will be always a negative one. But don't worry. Why it is negative? Because there is law of demand. There is an inverse relation between P and Q, and that is reflected here. So if you, if I am giving you one, I will give you one mathematical equation, a particular form of the demand equation, and then I will ask you to find out the elasticity of demand. Then you can find this value will be negative. But don't panic, don't worry. It's quite natural because there is law of demand. There is law of demand. But what happened? Generally, when we are discussing a lot, when we will discuss a lot about the price elasticity of demand, we generally ignore that negative sign because we just assume, okay, it is there. It is there. There is law of demand. I am assuming that there is an inherent assumption that there is law of demand. So that negative sign is there. But as we are assuming it is there, we are not concerned about that. So we are only concerned about the value. We are only concerned about the absolute value. We are not concerned whether it is -2 or -3. We are only concerned about 2 and 3. You get that point?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the thing. This is the thing. When you are getting the value here, it is the actual value where you will get a negative sign. This is the formula. But when you are going to apply that formula in a particular demand equation, definitely that value will have a negative sign. And that negative sign will show that there is law of demand. But just for simplicity, we are not considering the negative sign because generally there is law of demand. There is a very rare situation. There are some rare situations where there is violation of law of demand. Generally, there is law of demand, and that is why we used to ignore it. Generally, this is our habit to ignore that negative sign. So we are only concerned about the absolute value of elasticity of demand. Yes, someone is trying to ask.
Ma'am, can you explain the negative sign once more?
Yes. Look, if it is the percentage change, I am only considering about the change. Oh, that spelling is again mistake. Oh, darao. We are only concerned about the change. So that is why when we are looking at that value, say that equation will be Q is equal to 3 minus 2P. Okay, this equation is given to you. Okay, let me write it. Act a minute. Act a simple. I'm just going to give you a simple demand equation. Say Q is the dependent variable, so it should be to the left of the equation, is 10 minus 5P. Okay, so this is a particular demand equation I'm giving to you. Okay, so that negative sign you can understand if price is increasing, demand is falling. That shows there is law of demand. Now tell me what is the value of DQDP. You know you have to find out the value of DQDP because this is a part of your elasticity. So tell me the value of DQDP.
-5.
Five.
No, DQDP -5. Oh, you are telling about -5. Yes, it is -5. Right, it is -5. So DQDP is -5. Then you have to put the value of P. P is the price level, obviously a positive value. Q is the quantity demanded, another positive value. So this is a positive one, this is a positive one. The division, the ratio will be a positive part. And DQDP is a negative. So you can understand your elasticity will definitely have a negative sign. Is that okay now?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes.
it will be, আমি কি করছি? Just a minute. Pointer দিয়ে লিখছি. So here comes DQDP, that will be -5. So -5 into P by Q. That will be the elasticity. Huh? And P is a positive value, Q is a positive value because this is price and quantity. They are not negative. So your elasticity will be a negative one. So we are saying this is a mathematical value of the elasticity of demand. Generally, that formula is giving you the mathematical value of the elasticity of demand. So we are generally getting a negative sign. But as there is law of demand always, it's a very rare situation to have no law of demand in that sense. So generally we are ignoring that negative one. We are only concerned about the absolute value. We are only, where is my pen? Yes. We are only concerned about the absolute. This is not the absolute value, but we are generally concerned about the mod value. So that only that 5 will occur, only that 5 by 2 that will come. Is that okay? This is not elasticity. This is not the mod value. This is the mathematical value. But we are concerned about the mod value. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Any question from this slide? No question. Okay. So own price elasticity of demand is like this. So what we are discussing, this is the mathematical value which may have a negative sign. But if you are not interested about the negative sign, then you can take only the mod value. That means you can ignore that negative one. It depends. It depends on the situation. What is required, the situation, what the situation requires, you have to go accordingly. Okay. Anyway, this is your own price. Now the factors, these are in your ManQ. If you open your ManQ, you can find these factors are there. So what are the factors which can influence the elasticity of demand? Availability of the close substitute. Look, if you are saying that tea and coffee, if you consider them as a close substitute, so if you have close substitute, then the price of that factor will influence the price of the substitute commodity will influence you a lot, right? So in that case, you know that there is a close substitute which is available in the market. You know, coffee is the substitute of tea and coffee is easily available in the market. So in that case, if price of tea is increasing, you can significantly reduce the demand of tea because you know the close substitute of tea, that is coffee, it is easily available in the market. I just go to the market, purchase the coffee, and okay, I will be happy. So in that case, if there is close substitute which is available in the market, then the elasticity of demand is more. That means my demand is more elastic in that sense. My demand will change significantly with a minor change in the price. Is that clear? নাকি আবার বলবো?
Can you repeat it for some?
Yes. I think so. I'm saying that say tea and coffee, they are close substitute. Okay. And tea and coffee both are available in the market. Say there is 1% change in the price of tea. Okay. There is 1% increase in price of tea. The demand of tea should fall because there is law of demand. That part is okay. The question is how much? The answer is, as the consumer knows that coffee is easily available in the market and price of tea is increasing, he will reduce his demand for tea significantly. He is very much sensitive to the price of tea because he knows that if price of tea is increasing, I should reduce the demand of tea significantly because the substitute of tea, that is coffee, is easily available in the market. So I can easily substitute tea by coffee. So in that case, demand of tea is sensitive to the price of tea. বুঝতে পারলে?
Yes, ma'am. Now understood.
So what happened? The price is increasing, the demand is falling significantly. Why? Because the close substitute is available in the market. But what happened in case of the life-saving medicine? I'm giving another extreme. Price is increasing, but you know that there is no close substitute of that medicine in the market. So you have to purchase it. Okay. So in that case, your demand will not fall to that extent. You need it. Once you need it, you need it. So your demand for medicine will not fall to that level as it is in the case of tea. So the responsiveness of the demand of medicine is less than the responsiveness of demand for tea. Okay. So I can say that demand of medicine is inelastic as it is responsiveness is less, and demand for tea is elastic as its responsiveness is high. বুঝতে পারলে? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Any question from anyone else? When your demand is changing significantly, that means your demand is elastic. When your demand is not changing significantly, your demand is inelastic. And that change in demand, that is, I am calling it as responsiveness. When I am very much sensitive to the price, that means I am changing my demand significantly. That means the demand of that commodity is elastic. And if it is not, then it is inelastic. বুঝে যাচ্ছে? This is something new, so if you cannot understand, just ask. I hope it is clear as you are not asking anything. Now I am going to the second bullet, necessity and luxury. As I said, I have given an example already. That example of medicine. In case of medicine, if the price is increasing, you cannot reduce your demand significantly because you need it, right? So in that case, your demand is not so sensible to the change in price. So the responsiveness is very low. So for the necessary good, the elasticity of demand is less. Look how I am telling this. Look at this. Look at this. What I am saying, the numerator is the percentage change in quantity demanded and the denominator is the percentage change in price. Now consider the market of medicine. So the price of the medicine has increased 50%. Okay. So that denominator is now 50% more than before. Okay. So the denominator is 50%. Do you agree with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But what about the numerator? As it is necessary, it is a medicine, so it is necessary for me, my demand will not change significantly. Maybe 1%, maybe 2%, not more than that. So the percentage change in quantity demanded is quite less than the percentage change in price. The percentage change in price is 50, but the percentage change in quantity demanded may be 1 or less than 1. So what about the ratio? The ratio is very low. Your numerator is poor, your numerator is less, and the denominator is very high. So the ratio is less. Is that okay? Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So this is how I am saying that for the necessary good, elasticity of demand is less. But what about the luxury good? Another extreme. Anything. Give me an example of the luxury good.
Pizza.
What?
Pizza.
Pizza. Okay, you are talking about pizza. For some, I know there are some people in your class. Pizza is a sort of necessary for them. Anyway, I'm going with pizza. So in case of pizza, what happened? It is a luxury. Hmm. If the pizza consumption is a luxury commodity, luxury consumption, say the price changed is again 50% high. Okay. Okay. The price of pizza has increased by 50%. Initially it was 50, or now it is 75. It's like that. It is increased by 50%. But as it is luxury, so you can live without consuming pizza. It is not necessary for your life. So you just reduce the pizza consumption. You are thinking, okay, I will not consume pizza for next 2 months. That you can do. You can reduce. Say initially you used to consume pizza once in a week, and now you are going to consume pizza once in a month. Okay, so your demand has increased significantly, or you are going to consume pizza once in every 2 months. Okay, so this is how your demand is falling. So your demand is falling more, or your demand is changing more than change in price. Hmm. So your numerator is very high as compared to the denominator. So the ratio is greater than 1. Now, do you get my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. Say the denominator is 50% and your numerator is say 70% or 80%. So the ratio is greater than 1. So I can say the demand is elastic. For the luxury commodity, that demand is elastic. For the necessary commodity, demand is inelastic. Okay? And if there is close substitute in the market, the demand is elastic, that is greater than 1. If there is no such close substitute in the market, then demand is inelastic, that is less than 1. Okay. Now the definition of the market, how you are defined. Yes.
Ma'am, can you explain this luxury and necessity point once more?
Yes. What I am telling, then for the necessary good, if the percentage change in price is very high, your demand change is not so high. You cannot change your demand to that extent. If the price is increased by 50% and the commodity is necessary for you, then you cannot reduce your demand for that commodity to 50%. It is not possible. So in that case, the numerator, the percentage change in quantity demanded is quite less as compared to percentage change in price. I can say del Q by Q is less than del P by P. The percentage change in price is quite high as compared to percentage change in quantity demanded. Definitely your demand will fall. Demand will fall. If there is law of demand, the demand will fall if there is increase in price. But the fall is not so significant, not so high to that level of change in price. So then what will happen? The numerator is very low, the denominator is very high. numerator is small, the denominator is large, then the ratio is very low. I can say the ratio is less than 1. So the demand is inelastic. Okay. This is the case of necessary. And
Okay,
for the
ma'am.
luxury, just opposite. If the price is changing, my demand is very much sensitive to that. I am reducing my demand drastically. When the price is increasing, I am reducing my demand drastically because it is luxury. I can live without it. I can stop my consumption of that commodity for next 6 months. No issue. Huh? So I have reduced it. For example, in case of the pandemic time, in the pandemic situation when that period was there, we are not going to multiplex. But generally, we used to go once in a month in multiplex. But we are alive without going to multiplex for last 6 months. So that means going to multiplex is a luxury sort of thing for us. Huh? So we have reduced the demand for this is not due to the change in price, but anyway, we have reduced the demand for we have reduced the consumption of that commodity. We are demanding very less of that commodity with respect to change in price. If it is so, then the elasticity is greater than 1. My numerator is greater than my denominator and the ratio is greater than 1. So I can say for the luxury commodity, the demand is elastic. For necessary commodity, the demand is inelastic.
Ma'am,
Yes.
you said that in case of pandemic, there is no change of price, but we have reduced our demand.
This
If
is
there is
because
no,
of some other reason.
yeah, ma'am. In case of there is no change of
No, no,
price,
no, 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 no. This is not
wouldn't that be
related with
zero?
the own price.
So, ma'am, the
This is
change
not.
is, uh,
Yes, yes.
ma'am, I'm saying that so if there is no change in price, that so the denominator will be zero. Wouldn't,
Yes.
wouldn't that be a case? What if that happens?
First of all, that was the wrong example which I used. That is why I said that in that case, the price is not changing. The other factors are changing so that my demand is falling. So it is something related with the cross price elasticity, you can say,
And
but
ma'am,
not the own price.
what about if the ratio is one? Will that be elastic or inelastic in nature?
It is unit elastic. We will discuss different type of price elasticity. We have those slides.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
There are 5 actually. We are going to discuss it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Now the definition of the market, if you are making a narrow definition, for example, if you are considering the market for Colgate paste, so that market, the demand is okay. I'm giving you one question. I'm giving you one question which is very common at the university level. Just try to give me the answer. You know a bit about the elasticity of demand. So just apply that concept to give the answer of this question. The question is, whose demand is more elastic? The Maruti 800 or Maruti industry as a whole? In Maruti, there are a lot of products. Maruti 800 is one of them. You have Wagoner, you have আরো কত কি সব আছে যাই হোক তো among these Maruti 800 is one of them. So where you are getting more elasticity of demand, for Maruti 800 market or Maruti industry as a whole?
Ma'am,
Ma'am, Maruti industry as a whole.
Yes, Maruti industry as a whole. No, 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 no. Try to give the answer. Maruti
Could you
800. In
repeat the
case of
question
Maruti,
also?
yes, I'm repeating the question. Where the elasticity of demand is more? Where the elasticity of demand is more? Maruti 800 or Maruti industry?
800 is more elastic than
800. Elasticity of 800 is
Maruti
more.
800.
Yes. For Maruti 800, it is more elastic because if the price of Maruti 800 is increasing, you can reduce the demand of Maruti 800 and you can, there is close substitute. Look at this. Close substitutes are there in the market. So you can substitute Maruti 800 with some other products or from the Maruti. But the Maruti industry as a whole, if the price is increasing, you are going from this product to that product. You are going from the same Maruti industry, you are moving from this product to that product. You are not going to leave Maruti, right? Because there are variety. So you can choose one of them. Okay, so you are not going to leave. So demand for Maruti product is less sensitive than demand for a particular product of the Maruti. Is that clear? If price of Maruti 800 is increasing, you have reduced the demand for Maruti 800 and you may go for, you are going to purchase, আমি ভুলে গেছি কাছাকাছি প্রোডাক্ট গুলোর নাম, the same price products. Can you help me? Alto, yes, price is almost same. The price is almost same. So the price of Maruti 800 is increasing, you just substitute Maruti 800 by Alto. Okay, but when the price of Maruti industry as a whole is increasing, what you are trying to do? You are just trying to leave Alto. You are just trying to go to WagonR. You may go from WagonR to Baleno. You may go from Baleno to Nexa. You can do like this. Okay, but you are not leaving that Maruti. Okay, you are not going to leave that Maruti industry. You are replacing one product by another of the same company. So this is what you are doing. So your demand is not falling in that sense. Some of the people they are leaving, and most of the people, they are within the market. They are just replacing one car by another of the same company. So the demand sensitivity of the industry as a whole is less as compared to any particular product. Okay, so Maruti 800 has more elastic demand as compared to Maruti industry. And this is true for any of the industry and product. So the definition of the market is also very important. Any problem with my explanation?
Ma'am,
Hmm?
ma'am, that will be true if no one leaves the Maruti industry.
Mm-hmm.
Because
But
there
if
are,
they are leaving, no, some as I said, some of the people they will leave.
yes, ma'am, because there are more automobile industries.
Yes, you can go to Hyundai, you can go for Honda, you can go for, I don't know, there are a lot actually. So you can go for any of them. But how many? Once you are habituated with Maruti, you are trying to find out some alternative from the same company. For example, consider for the paste industry. You have to use the paste. Whether it is Colgate, whether it is আমি জানি না আর কি কি আছে বলো না, Pepsodent. Okay, you have to use it. You cannot leave, na? You cannot go to use the Ash. You have to use any of the toothpaste. So you are not going to leave the toothpaste industry. So in the toothpaste industry, demand is not falling to that level. But if the price of Colgate is increasing significantly, you can leave Colgate market and you can go for the Pepsodent. So that sensitivity for the Colgate is very high as compared to the toothpaste industry as a whole.
Okay, ma'am. Understood.
So this is the definition of the market, and the fourth one is time. Time is also in our syllabus. Specifically, it is written as the time, short run and long run. So basically what happened in the short run, you may not find the substitute of your product. So in the short run, you are generally, for the short run, the demand is inelastic. You cannot change your demand. The price is increasing. You can understand the price is increasing, but you cannot leave that market then and there because you need the substitute. But in the long run, as it is a longer time period, you have the time in your hand to find out the substitute of the product. So in the long run, your demand will fall significantly. Once you are having the substitute. So that is why in the short run, generally, in the short run, the demand is inelastic, and in the long run, demand is elastic. Okay. There is an example, maybe in Pindac, I can't remember whether it is in Mankiw or in Pindac. There is another example. Uh, the industry of, the petrol, the price of petrol is increasing continuously. But once you need a car, it is not possible for you, in last 3 months, just after that lockdown period, the price of petrol is increasing significantly. Each and every time it is, I am hearing that price is increasing 2.5 like this. So it is increasing significantly, but it is not possible for a person to find out the substitute of the petrol car right now. But if you are giving 10 years or 5 years time to that person, he will definitely find out a substitute of the petrol car. And the cars are coming in the market. Electric car, solar car, they are coming, but you need some time to find out them. So in the long run, demand is more sensitive than in the short run. Okay, your responsiveness is more in case of the long run as compared to the short run. So I can say in short run the demand is inelastic, but in the long run the demand is elastic. Okay. Bulle, any question?
Ma'am,
Hmm.
in the book there is a point written time horizon. These both are same, time and time horizon points.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
It is also in your syllabus. Check your syllabus, it is written. The demand and supply in short run and long run and all this. So here it is. Okay. So I'm going to the measurement portion. These are also in our syllabus. There are two measurements. The first one is the arc elasticity and the second one is the midpoint method. So we will discuss all of them. Arc elasticity. Look, this is a demand curve. Okay, well, let me tell you. This diagram I have copied from the Google. Okay, it is not possible for me. I don't have the time actually. I'm very much interested to draw all the pictures with my own. When I was taking the class in the offline mode, I was drawing a lot in the whiteboard. But now the time constraint is very much in front of me. So I don't have the time to draw. So I have just taken a picture from the Google. So the source is Google here. So what is happening? Look, arc elasticity means, the name of arc elasticity is the midpoint method. So someone is calling it as a midpoint method, someone is calling it as a arc elasticity, anything. Look, the demand curve is a curve here. It is not a straight line. It may be a straight line, no issue, but here it is drawn as a curve. So there are two prices. One is P1, another is P2. Okay, and there is a corresponding quantities Q1 and Q2. Right. So P1 Q1 is on R1 and P2 Q2 is on R2. Fine. So you have 2 points. You are trying to find out the elasticity of the demand curve. Very good. You have the demand curve. You have two prices, two quantities. So it's very easy for you to find out the elasticity because you know the formula of elasticity. It is del Q by del P into P by Q. So del Q, how to get the del Q? Very easy. Del Q is Q2 minus Q1. Okay. Q2 minus Q1, there is a change in quantity, right? Del Q means the change in quantity. How to get it? Del Q2 minus Q1. Okay, so your del Q is done. What is your del P? P1 minus P2. This is your del P. Okay, or you can draw, if you are just going to draw the negative portion, then it is P2 minus P1, anything. Okay, so this is the difference. Here comes the del P, here comes your del Q. The problem is what is your P and what is your Q? What is your P and what is your Q? Look, if you are telling, okay, I am moving from R1 to R2, you may tell me that, okay, it is R1 from R2, then your PQ is P1 and Q1. In case of P, you have to write P1, and in case of Q, you have to replace it by Q1. That is your starting point. But what is the law that you must move from R1 to R2? Why not from R2 to R1? Where is the problem? There may be someone who is saying, no, ma'am, I want to move from R2 to R1. So there, I have to write P2 and Q2 here. I have to write P2 and Q2 here, right? Now you can easily understand if I am writing P1 and Q1, P1 by Q1 is not equal to P2 by Q2. Na? Del Q and del P, these are same. But P1 by Q1 is necessarily not equal to P2 by Q2. Right? Is it clear to you? Where is the problem?
Understood.
Anyone? If you have any problem?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am.
Bolo.
Ma'am, if R2 is the final point, then why should one want to go from R2 to R1?
Who said it is the final point? I may move from R2 to R1. What is your problem if I am moving from R2 to R1?
Means, ma'am, if in the question it is said that the price has changed from
P2 to
P1,
P1.
P1 to P2.
You are saying the price is moving from P1 to P2. I am saying no, the price is moving from P2 to P1. Price has increased. You are talking about fall in price. I am talking about increase in price. Where is the problem? The same thing, we are looking from the opposite side. There is no restriction. There is no restriction on me that you cannot say me, no ma'am, you cannot move from P2 to P1. I can raise the price. Right?
Yes, ma'am, but I can say that if that is not stated.
Nothing is stated. P2 doesn't mean it is the final point. It's just a name. It's just a name. P1, P2, these are the names. You can write P1 as P2, P2 as P1.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can move. You can increase your price. You can decrease your price. Once you decrease your price, the initial price is P1. But once you increase your price, the initial price is P2. So there is no such restriction of this movement. You can move upward, you can move downward, you can go from to any direction.
Okay, ma'am.
So the problem is that if you are decreasing the price, then the initial price is P1. But if you are increasing the price, then initial price is P2. And you can understand here in the formula, P1 by Q1 is not necessarily equal to P2 by Q2. It depends on the slope. It depends on the position of your demand curve. So P1 by the same diagram, the same demand curve. But if I plot, if I write P1 and Q1, elasticity is something. And if I write P2 and Q2, elasticity will be something different. So it is a problem now. It is a problem. The same demand curve, but the elasticities are different. It depends what is my starting point. Do you get the problem? Then
Yes,
we will
ma'am.
solve
Yes,
the
ma'am.
answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it is a problem. The question is, no one can restrict me to increase the price. No one can restrict you to reduce the price. There is no such restriction. You can move along your demand curve from here to here. Okay, so there comes the problem. What will be the P and what will be the Q? Del P, del Q is not a problem, but P and Q is the problem. Okay, so here comes a solution. The solution is the midpoint. They are saying, okay, there is no P, don't write P1, don't write P2. Consider the average of P1 and P2. Okay, average of P1 and P2, that will be the midpoint. That means P1 plus P2 divided by 2. That is the average. P1 plus P2 divided by 2. And here also Q1 plus Q2 divided by 2. That will be your Q. And P1 plus P2 divided by P, that will be your P. So the problem is solved. Do you get my point?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm talking about the P1 and Q1. You are talking about P2 and Q2. So there no solution is coming out. So the solution is don't write P1, don't write P2. Write P1 plus P2 divided by 2. Take the average. Okay. So you are replacing. So del Q and del P, this is not a problem again. Del Q is Q2 minus Q1 and del P is P1 minus P2. That is not a problem. But your P will be that P. Look, that P will be P1 plus P2 divided by 2 and Q will be Q1 plus Q2 divided by 2. Just a minute. Baba. What happened, Shaglik? Why you are entering now?
Ma'am, I'm here.
Then you just left it.
I didn't leave right now.
But you were asking to enter. And I admit it.
Days to Sagnik, ma'am.
So this is called the arc elasticity method or the midpoint method. Okay, midpoint. Any question?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, if we take the midpoint, then will it keep the percentage change?
No issue. Percentage change is there. Percentage change is the, look now, here. What is the percentage change? Del Q by Q divided by del P by P. So, and that 100 is cancelled out. So 100 is not a problem. So del Q, you know, Q2 minus Q1. Del P, you know, P1 minus P2. Q is replaced by Q1 plus Q2 divided by 2. P is replaced by P1 by P2 by 2. So I am following the formula. Everything is there.
Ma'am, but here we are taking the initial point as the midpoint.
Yes.
So will it keep the actual percentage change? Because while finding del Q, we are taking it from the initial and final point, and while Q, we are taking the midpoint.
Yes. But you can see now, you can see that everything is very much fine. Because this is your percentage change. This is, I'm just replacing this formula by del Q by del P into P by Q. Now that P is just an average value and Q is just an average value. Del P and del Q, they are same as before.
Then, ma'am, we should take the del Q also from the average value.
Average to where?
To the final.
You don't know.
Final point.
Again, that problem will come.
Yes,
Why
ma'am.
to the final? Why not the initial?
Yes, ma'am.
So as you are getting your del Q and del P very easily, so have it. And Q and P, they are making the problem. So that is why we are taking the average. Look at the formula. Look at this formula. Again, this is taken from the Google. Q1 minus Q2 is Q0. Okay, fine. Q1 minus Q naught divided by, look, that Q is replaced by Q1 plus Q naught divided by 2. And here it is P1 minus P naught. P is replaced by P1 plus P naught divided by 2. Again, that 2 will be cancelled out. Okay, that 2 will be cancelled out and it will be Q1 minus Q naught divided by P1 minus P naught into P1 plus P naught divided by Q1 plus Q naught. That is the arc elasticity of demand. Actually, there is no such specification, there is no such specification that what will be the P and what will be the Q. It may be the initial one, it may be the final one. There is no such rule, there is no such law. It is the P. But what is the P? Final, end, what? The initial, no one knows. So that is why we are taking the average value. It may not be the accurate, but very close to the accurate. If you are taking that Q1 and Q0, if you take R1 and R2 very close to each other, then that problem will be solved. Okay? Then that problem will be solved. That initial P1 and P2, they are very close. So the average is also close to the accurate. This is how we are doing.
Ma'am. Ma'am, in the formula, in the next slide, ma'am, in the numerator Q1 minus Q naught, if in the place of Q naught, we could have written Q1 plus Q naught by 2, so would have been okay, means.
What you are talking, what you are trying to replace?
In Q1 minus Q naught, in that part, in place of Q naught, if I write Q1 plus Q naught by 2.
Okay. Okay. So you are just trying to average this one as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Why not? Why not?
Ma'am, because we are taking the difference from the 2 points.
Okay, okay. So you are talking about why I am not taking this as the initial point.
Yes, ma'am.
Why I am not taking as a final point? I can replace this as in case of Q1 as well, no? Why Q not?
Ma'am, I think there is much confusion in taking an average.
No. If
Yes,
you are
ma'am.
not taking the average, more confusion will arise, as I am talking about. What is your P1? What is your P2? What is the starting point? You don't know. So del Q is just the difference. Del Q is just the difference between the initial quantity and the final quantity. So I am taking this. The del P is just the average of the initial price and the final price. So I am taking it. And about P and Q, as it is not said that whether it will be the initial price quantity or it will be the final price quantity, as it is not mentioned, and they are quite different to each other. So I am taking average.
Okay, ma'am.
This is how arc elasticity of demand is measured. Any other question? আরো কিছু থাকলে জিজ্ঞাসা করো, then I will proceed. আচ্ছা, নেই. Okay. So now comes the point elasticity of demand. In our syllabus, there are two types of elasticity of demand calculation. The first one is the arc elasticity demand, this one, and the second one is the point elasticity of demand. If you open your syllabus, you can find it is written there that it is only the definition. The point elasticity of demand, only the definition is needed. Actually, we will apply that definition. That is why the definition, the derivation is not required. There is a typical, there is a I can say complex geometrical derivation of that point elasticity of demand. This is not in our syllabus. So we are not going to derive the formula, but we will use it. Okay, we will know what is that and then we will use it. So as it is written, look, this is also, you can understand, this is also from the Google. It is a geometric method of measuring the elasticity at a point. The geometrical derivation, it is there. Some of you may know that, but it is not in our syllabus right now. So we are not going to derive. So what is the formula? Is a very easy formula. What we have already written, del Q by del P into P by Q. Okay. Now look, as I said, we are going to apply that formula. There is a thumb rule, there is a thumb rule of this particular formula. It is actually saying the elasticity. Look, this is a demand curve, A, D. This is a demand curve. There are a lot of points and the elasticities are quite different. First of all, if it is a straight line demand curve, remember, if it is a straight line demand curve, the elasticity is not constant. Slope is constant. Del P del Q is constant, but elasticity is not constant for a straight line demand curve. Remember, why? Because the formula del Q by del P into P by Q. If it is a straight line, that del Q by del P is constant, but P by Q, this is not constant. It will change along the demand curve, right? And based on that, there is a thumb rule. What is a thumb rule? Elasticity is the upper length by lower length. Okay, upper length by lower length. What is that? Look, for a particular point C. No, I'm sorry. It is the lower length by upper length. For a particular point C, what is the lower length? Lower length means from C to the end point on the horizontal axis. That is CK. This is the lower length, CK. And what is the upper length? CA. So CK by CA. This is the elasticity of demand at C. Do you get my point? Is it okay? This is the thumb rule.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt you. I think the photo may be very much stretched. If you kindly, the graph
is not clear.
It is very much stretched. Otherwise, it is clear. But
stretched. Okay. Just a minute.
Yeah, that's right.
Is it better?
Yes, ma'am.
So what I am saying, there is a thumb rule, you can apply it. It is the lower length by upper length. So for point C, what is the elasticity at the point C? CK by CA. Okay, CK by CA. CK by CA. For G, what is the elasticity? GK by GA. Simple. It is very easy to remember, right? So you can see from the diagram that CK is greater than CA. So here the ratio is greater than 1. So elasticity is greater than 1. At the midpoint, that means at F, FK divided by FA. And as it is the midpoint, so FK is equal to FA. So the elasticity is equal to 1 for the midpoint. Any point below this, G, GK by GA. So as GK is less than GA, so elasticity is less than 1. What about K? There is no lower length. So lower length by upper length, lower length is 0. So 0 by something is 0. That means at the point K, elasticity is equal to 1. And what about A? There is no upper length, only the lower length. So lower length is AK divided by 0. Something by 0 is infinite. So at this point, just at the vertical stretch, at the vertical intersection point, the elasticity is infinite. So you can see elasticity is falling. infinite to greater than 1 to equal to 1 to less than 1 to 0. So along the straight line demand curve, elasticity is falling. Is it clear to you? I'm just applying the thumb rule here to find the elasticity.
Yes, ma'am, understood.
Yes, ma'am.
Now look, I'm talking about a straight line. You can ask me why straight line. If it is a curve, then how to get the elasticity at the particular point. Still, it is very easy. Let me draw. I don't know how much it will be clear, but I'm trying very hard to draw a clear diagram. This is a curve. Look, this is a demand curve. Fine. Here I'm going to find out the elasticity of demand, say at this point. How to do that? I have to draw a straight line which is tangent at this point. Oh, very poor straight line. But somehow it is tangent. It is tangent. So consider this point as A, okay, where it is tangent to my demand curve. This is a line. And this line is, say this is M, and say this is N. Okay. So now you have to find what is the elasticity at the point, and now you are getting a straight line. So now it is easy to use your thumb rule. Elasticity at the point A is AN divided by AM. Okay? AN by AM. As from the diagram, AM is greater than AN, so elasticity is less than 1. So this is how you can apply point elasticity of demand, that is a thumb rule, for either straight line or for a curve. Is it okay?
Ma'am,
Yes, ask.
ma'am, how this thumb rule is coming?
That derivation is not in our syllabus. It is there actually. It is there. The geometrical derivation is there.
Okay,
But
ma'am.
as I don't have time, first of all, and second, fortunately, it is not in my syllabus, so I am not explaining it. But it is there.
Okay, ma'am, no problem. And ma'am, so if there is a curve, we will draw a tangent at that point and then apply that thumb rule.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, ma'am,
Okay,
we
ma'am.
have to
Again,
go
if
for
you
the
take any point, look, if you take any point here, hey, what's the problem? Anyway, I'm not going to allow anyone. If they can enter by their own, it's okay. Look, you can take any point here. Say it is at B. It is tangent at this point. So here also you can apply the thumb rule.
Okay, ma'am.
My drawing is very poor, I must admit, but try to understand.
No,
My
ma'am, it's
handwriting
okay.
is not so poor, but as I'm using that pen,
Yes, ma'am, it is a little difficult to write.
miserable. So if you have any problem from that thumb rule and that elasticity, you can ask.
Yes, ma'am, understood.
Anyone else from the class? Any doubt?
Understood.
Okay. Here comes. Someone was asking if it is percentage change in quantity demanded is, oh, what's the problem? Why you are trying to enter now? Constantly tang 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 आवाज होच्छे. Just a minute. So someone was asking at the beginning of my class that if percentage change in quantity demanded is equal to percentage change in price, then what will happen? What is your problem? What is your problem? Who is coming at the Shamodeep or what I saw? Anish. What is the problem, Anish? Why you are leaving the class and then why you are entering the class? I can't understand.
Ma'am, I was having some network issues.
Network issue. Yes, this is a common answer, you know. So here comes the types of elasticity of demand. The first one is elastic demand, inelastic, unit elastic, infinitely elastic, zero elastic. I will explain one by one. Look, this is the first diagram. Two demand curves are there. Huh? One is yellow colored, another one is red colored. Okay. Two demand curves. I have drawn it intentionally in a single diagram so that I can explain it. Look, they have one intersection point. Huh? So corresponding to that intersection point, you have one price and one quantity. Okay, so this is our starting point. Now consider there is a fall in price. So we have that green line, the new price line. Okay, so given that price, the red line is demanding this quantity. Okay, and the yellow line is demanding this quantity. Okay, is it okay?
No, ma'am. Please
Not
repeat it
okay.
once.
Okay. There are two demand curves with two different slopes. Okay. There are two demand curves with two different slopes. So they have one intersection point. This is our starting point. So corresponding to this intersection point, I have a price and I have a quantity. Okay. Now the price is falling, and that reduced price is shown by this green line. Done. Now, given this new price, the red demand curve is demanding this much of quantity. Okay, and the yellow demand curve is demanding this much of quantity with the new price. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So you can understand the change in quantity demanded is different for two demand curves. For the first line, that is for the red line, for this red demand curve, change in quantity demanded is here. Look, from here to here. For the red line, for the red demand curve, change in quantity demanded, the initial demand was here and the new demand is here. So del Q is this minus this. Del Q is this minus this. Is it okay? Del Q is this minus this for the red line. And
Ma'am,
look at the price. Yes.
there is two. There is one brown colored line, and this is demand curve. And what represent the red colored line?
Another
This
demand
is the
curve. Nothing. Another demand curve. There are two demand curves. One is yellow, another is red.
okay, and there is another red colored line. Uh, there is
Oh,
two red
this is
color.
showing a particular quantity. Actually, this is not a red. This is brown color.
This is
But
brown colored. Yeah,
so this is showing the quantity. Now look
okay,
what I
okay.
am saying, that this is the change in price. Okay, del P is this. Del P is here. Okay, del P is same for the both. Del P is here. But for the brown colored line, del Q is here. Is that okay? The difference between this and this. This is del Q for the red line or the brown line. Is it clear to you? I can write the names, but it will be very clumsy. That is why I was thinking that, okay, I will explain it with the help of the pointer. Is it clear to? Otherwise, I will write.
It's okay, ma'am.
It's okay now. Clear.
Okay. So now look, del P is less than del Q. Del Q is very high here. Del Q is this and del P is this. So for the brown line, del Q is greater than del P, right? But for the yellow line, del Q is only this, from the gray line to the red line. So this is del Q. This is del Q for the yellow line, and del P is quite high with respect to del Q here. Okay. So for the brown line, del Q is greater than del P. For the yellow line, del P is greater than del Q. Right? Now, what is elasticity? Elasticity is del Q by del P divided by P by Q. So that P is same. But what about del Q? For the red line, del Q is very high, and for the yellow line, del Q is very high. Okay, so I can say for the red or that brown, whatever you can understand, for the brown line, elasticity is more than the yellow line. As del Q is very high for that brown line, so I can say the elasticity is also high for the brown line as compared to the yellow line. বুঝতে পারলে?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Mean to say for the brown colored line, E is greater than 1, and for the yellow colored
Yes,
line, E
yes,
is less
yes,
than
yes,
1.
yes, yes. So I can say that the brown colored line is elastic and the yellow colored line is inelastic. Okay, so these are the first two, elastic demand and the inelastic demand. So elastic means the line is a flatter, the demand curve is a flatter, and inelastic means the demand curve is steeper. So that del P is greater than del Q. And for elastic, del Q is greater than del P. This is how you have to draw. Okay, so you can draw it separately. Oh, again I was trying to draw with the pointer. So you can draw it separately. This is a very flatter one, so you can understand always del P is less than del Q. And you can draw another which is very steep in that sense. So del P is always greater than del Q. Here it is, del P is less than del Q, del P is greater than del Q. So this is elastic, this is inelastic.
Ma'am, in case of inelastic, will it be if the elasticity is less than 1? Because if del P is more, then it will be less than 1. So in that case,
Yes,
no.
yes, inelastic means it is less than 1.
So in the point elasticity graph where you showed that initially it was like more than 1, then it is coming less than 1. At that
Mhm.
point, like from G, um, I no not from G. Then will it from G will it be inelastic?
Yes,
Okay, okay, ma'am.
yes.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, will the here will the uh, Q will be same or different
Q
from
is different. Q are different. No, definitely Q are different. The initial Q is same. Initial Q is same, but the final Q, these are different. That's why your del Qs are changing.
and ma'am, the average value will also change. Q1 plus Q2 by 2.
You are also concerned about that average. Yes.
So ma'am, the denominator will also increase slightly.
Yes, yes. But numerator is definitely greater than your denominator.
Okay, ma'am.
Now look at the next diagram. Another extreme.
Ma'am, I had a question. Ma'am,
Yes.
can we change the starting point?
Yeah, why not?
So, ma'am, as Kush said, down the graph the elasticity is falling or increasing. So, doesn't it mean like for different starting point we will get different values for elasticity?
Yes, 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 yes. Why not?
So, how can we assess a whole curve
No,
by
I'm not
one?
assessing. I'm just comparing. I'm just comparing. I'm not telling that this is elastic, this is inelastic. As compared to this line, this is inelastic.
So, we are moving point by point.
Yes, yes, we are moving.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Ma'am, we are comparing for a particular price here.
Yes. Yes, so that is why I'm saying that the starting point is same.
Yes, ma'am. Okay,
What
ma'am.
is your sensitivity? The responsiveness is very important here. Responsiveness in terms of the quantity, as quantity is a dependent variable. May I go to the next slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So look, this is another extreme. Here what happened? Two demand curves. Okay, these are two demand curves actually. Huh? That green one, or okay, green. That green one is a parallel to the horizontal axis. And here remember, I just forgot to write. Here I am measuring price and here I am measuring quantity. You must write it. Huh? And that red line is parallel to the vertical axis. Okay. So now if you apply that formula, that is del q by del p by into p by q. So along this green line, there is no del p. Look, del p is 0. No? Because it is parallel to the horizontal axis. Price is fixed. So there is no change in price. We are measuring price on the vertical axis and there is no change in the price along this line. Your Q is changing only. Okay. That is why you are moving from here to here to here to here like this. But your price is not changing. So del P is 0. So once your denominator is 0, the ratio is becoming infinite. So that is why the line, the demand curve, which is parallel to the horizontal axis, is called infinitely elastic. Okay. Bujle?
Yes, ma'am, understood.
Yes, ma'am.
Now look at another extreme, that is the red one. Here what happened? Del Q is 0. You are moving along this line when? Because your price is changing, but your Q is constant at that point. So there is no change in Q. So del Q is 0. So you can understand del Q by something, that is 0 by something is 0. So if your demand curve is parallel to the vertical axis, you can say the elasticity is equal to 0. It is 0 elastic. Okay. So these are two extreme points, infinitely elastic and 0 elastic. No elasticity is there. Huh? So these are two other possibilities. And this is the last one. Again, very poor diagram, but this is unit elastic. This is unit elastic. And unit elastic means uh,
Del Q equals to del P.
yes. Yes, that means del Q by del P into P by Q, that is equal to 1 always. That means del Q by Q is equal to del P by P. Del Q by Q is equal to del P by P. So this is your P, this is your Q. For another P and Q, you are getting like this. But this line is maintaining the relationship del Q by Q is equal to del P by P. And there is a line which is maintaining this relation is called the rectangular hyperbola. Okay, rectangular hyperbola has this property. So that is why if the elasticity is equal to 1, your demand curve will be a rectangular hyperbola. Okay, so this is rectangular hyperbola. It is not a straight line, it is not a normal curve. It has a particular property that it should be a rectangular hyperbola. Okay, so these are the different demand curves. Any question from there? You can ask, because I have discussed a lot about the own price elasticity. If you have any question, you can ask. In the next class, I will continue with the relationship with the elasticity and the revenue portion. I'm not going to discuss it because it will be, it is something different. That obviously in the next class, I will complete my unit 3 first, and then I will start from this total revenue section. Tell me your problem from today's class.
Ma'am, can you explain the thumb rule once again? Ma'am, am I audible?
No problem, I hope. I hope so, because you are not asking any question.
Ma'am, can you
Yes?
explain the difference between zero elastic and inelastic?
Zero elastic means like this, the red line. Okay? Zero elastic means the red line. That means del Q is equal to 0. Your quantity is not changing. Whatever price is that means it's absolute necessary good to you. Whatever price is asking, you cannot change your demand. Okay, so it is perfectly inelastic, I can say. Zero elastic or perfectly inelastic. So this is perfectly inelastic demand curve. But if you can draw any demand curve like this, it's like this, very steep, look, very steep. This is another demand curve, not parallel to the vertical axis, but close to that. So here also what happened, you can change price significantly, but your quantity demanded will not change to that level. It will change, but not to that level. So here it is inelastic. Okay, inelastic means the value is less than 1, and infinitely inelastic means the value is equal to 0. And the green line is perfectly elastic. Another extreme, it's equal to infinite.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, Anish asked if you could explain the thumb rule.
Thumb rule is the lower part divided by upper part. Thumb rule is the lower part divided by upper part. If you have a straight line, then it is the lower part divided. Okay, let me. Yes, lower part means CK divided by CA, FK divided by FA, GK divided by GA. This is how. Lower length by upper length. Yes.
Ma'am, when we find equals to infinite, then can we call it that perfectly elastic?
At this point, yes, why not?
Hmm.
At this point, demand is perfectly elastic.
Okay.
So no question, na? Okay. So I'm going to stop today's class. My God. Shukdev Bandyopadhyay. Why you are coming, I don't know. But I'm going to stop the recording.